Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Olatunji Ahmed, and I'm gonna be taking you on some preparation exam for your for your exam. I'm gonna be taking you on this prep question on your exam, and this is a very simple table. Okay, let's just dive into it. Yeah. The table given below summarizes the 2025 income statement and the balance sheet of Brick Ball and Harleys. Now, what are we trying to do here? What is the implied level of assets at the end of 2026? Meaning we are trying to look at the ending assets, at 2026. And how do you get the ending assets? Ending asset is always your average assets equal to beginning assets plus your ending assets divided by 2. So that's how you get your ending asset. So if you want to take the subject of the formula, it will be AA equals to beginning asset plus ending asset divided by 2. When you cross multiply, it will be BA plus EA equals to AA times 2. So when you cross multiply, you will have BA. Basically, BA means beginning asset plus EA. EA means ending assets divided by, no, equal to your average assets times 2. Times 2. Basically, you just need to know the formula. If you can get the formula, you can get the answer. Now, if you are looking for our ending asset, which is EA, EA will now be equal to AA. EA will be equal to AA times 2 minus your BA. So BA is beginning assets, AA is ending assets. We have any que- we have any question up to this point? Okay. So we move on by yes. So we're going to move on next 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 point of action. If you have any question, let me know. Basically, what you are getting the ending assets. That's what you are trying to get here, the ending assets. Yeah, that's what they're asking for here. So how do we get your AA? To get your average assets, you need your sales. I mean, you can't predict if something will happen, if something is gonna happen at the end of 2026 without not starting with your sales. So sales, how do you get your sales? So that is that your sales increases by 10%. So there's a 10% increase in your sales, 0.10, 10% increase in your sales. 10% increase in your sales, which will give you 1.1 times the sales is given in the question. The sales is given in the question as sales is given in the question. If you can check your table here, the sales is 1,600. So times 1,600 is will be equal to what? I just put it 1760. That is your sales. Then the question also says that your sales is sales equal to average assets. Can you see that? Ratio of sales to average assets is expected to remain at 40%. 40, 40%. So average assets, which is your AA, will be equal to the average asset will be equal to 1760 divided by your 40%, because they said that the ratio to sales to average assets is expected to remain at 40%. So the ratio to sales is expected to remain at 40%, and that's why you are dividing this by 40%, which will give you 4,400. Now, we can now compute our ending asset. We have our average assets because the formula says that your ending asset is your average asset times 2 and your beginning asset. The question gave us the beginning asset. Our beginning asset is 4,160. So we have every information we need. We have every information that we need. So therefore, your average asset will be equal to your ending assets now will be equal to your average assets, which is 4,400 times 2 minus your beginning asset, which is 4,160. You compute this, what are you doing? 4,400 minus 4 equal to 4,640. That is the answer to your ending asset. That is the answer to your ending asset. 4,140. That answers question 1. That answers question 1. So this is A. That answers question 1. Let's just do this. Beginning assets, beginning assets plus ending assets. Asset plus ending assets equals to average assets times 2. Yeah. So if you have any question, please let me know. I can explain to you how you did that. How did we do this? This is over 2. We cross multiplied. We cross multiplied. So where I can write it? Yeah, we cross multiplied. When we cross multiplied, we had beginning assets here. Beginning, sorry for the typo. Beginning asset plus ending asset equal to average asset times 2. And we're looking for ending assets. Just a simple subject of the formula. So we are looking for ending asset. This beginning asset, we go to this place, and that is how we have minus beginning asset. Yeah. Let's answer the second question. The second question says that the company pays out 50% of net income. How much cash will Drake need to raise in the capital market in 2026? Assume debt remain constant. So if debt remain constant, put it in mind, debt remains constant, debt remains constant, debt remains constant. So what we are going to do here is we are looking for how much cash. We are looking for how much cash will Drake need to raise in the capital market in 2026? That means you have to do a whole balance sheet. You have to do a whole new balance sheet. So your sales now, your new sales, you follow the format of this one. Your new sales now will be, we sold for sales. So your sales will be 1,760. Yeah, your sales will be 1,760. The next one is your cost. Your cost is always 75% of sales. So what is your 75% of this? 0.75 times 75%, 1,760. So that you know how I got this. So 0.75 times 1,760. You have 1,320. That's your cost. Then the next interest. Your interest. So how do you get your interest? Also, stay in the box. Your interest is 5% of debt at start of the year. 5% of debt. Yeah. Debt. Your debt is 8,100. So it has to be 5% of 1,100, which is what? Which is 55%, which is 5% of debt, right? So the next one is your pre-tax. So how do you get your pre-tax profit? You get your pre-tax profit by subtracting all this. So pre-tax profit will be, yeah, so your pre-tax profit will be 1,760 minus 130, then minus 55. Tax profit will be 385. 385 is your pre-tax profit. Tax profit is 385. Then your next one is the next one is your tax. How do we get your tax? Your tax is you have to be, yeah, I think average asset is 0.40. So I think your tax is your 40% of your pre-tax profit, 40% of 385. You give you 154. 154. Yeah, that's how you get your tax. Again, I'll put it for you. 40% of your pre-tax profit, 40% of your pre-tax, yeah, pre-tax profit, yeah. So after that, move to net income. Because net income will be your pre-tax and tax, net income, which will be 385 minus 3 minus 150, which will give it to 231. That's how you get your net income. Again, we are not done with the question. The question says that if the company pays out 50% of dividends, 50% of dividends, that means it pays out 50% of this net income. So you need to add your dividends. Yeah, dividends, which is 50%. Dividends is 50%. What's 50% of 115.5? So this is 50%. Sorry, this is 50% of dividend. I mean, sorry, 50% of net income. Sorry, net income. Yeah. So once we have that, we can now solve for our, we can now solve for because we need our retained earnings. So retained earnings is subtraction 231 minus also it has to be like 115.5 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 115.5. That's how we got our retained earnings. And you finish your balance sheet, everything is good. So what's next? You need to do your sorry, so this is your income statement. Sorry, that's a mistake. So this is your income statement. Income statement. And now you can now solve for your balance sheet. Balance sheet. So your net assets at the left-hand side. Your net assets would be make sure it will be your ending assets, which is 4640. And you need your debts. Of course, your debts don't change. Your debt is 1,100. 1,100. Yeah. Yeah. Need, what do we need again? Your total. is 4640. And over here, now, what is your equity? Your equity in this question is 306. Your question is 30. Let me put it over here. Your equity. How do you get your equity? Equity, equity is 3060 plus, in addition to your dividend. Now, let me just equity minus your dividend. Yeah. Equity is in addition to your dividends. That is the amount you gave your shareholders. So which is a 115.5. 115.5. Of course, the total for this is equal to, yeah, this is gonna be a 3060 plus 115.5 equals to 3175.5 equal to 3175.5. Of course, the total will be 31711 3175 to give you a 4275.5. So we have our balance sheet. Now, your external financing needs, which is the cash that Drake need to raise in the capital market. You remember it says assumes debt remain constant, and that's why we have our debt here that is constant. If it says debt increase in 2026, we need to add the increment over here. But if it says debt decreased in 2026, we need to, reduce it over here. But in this case, it says that our debt remains constant. Our debt remains constant. So your external financing needs is equal to your total equity, which is a 4640 minus, yeah, your net assets minus your equity and debt, which is 4275.5, equal to, get your answer from there, 40 minus 427, which will give you 364.5. That's how we got 364.5 over here. Again, if you have any question, do not hesitate to let me know and see how I can assist and help you. Yeah, so that is how they got from this one. So external financing needs means that the amount, how much cash will Drake need to raise in the capital market in 2026. This is income statement for 2026. 2026 income statement and 2026 balance sheet in thousands. Yeah, so, and the C aspect says debt ratio, right? If Drake is unwilling to make an equity issue, what is the debt ratio? How do you get your debt ratio? Debt ratio in this case will be equal to, debt ratio will be your debt, which is 1,000. Your debt, which is, oh, my number is locked. All right. The debt, which is 1,100. 1,100 plus your external financing needs, which is 364.5, divided by your net assets, your net assets, which is 4640. Yeah, so that's how you compute your debt ratio. That's how you, calculator is missing. 1100. Yeah. Three equals to 146.5 divided by 146.5 divided by which is 0.640. To give you 0.3, let's say 315, which approximately will give you 31.5%. That is your debt. Yeah, 31.5. I think we have come to the end of this class. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to let me know. Don't hesitate to let me know if you have any question. It's just basically the formulas. Once you are able to know the formulas, I think you are good to go. Yeah, and you don't need to cram the formula. You just need to understand the formula. Debt ratio. The formula for debt ratio is your total debt divided by your total assets. That is what you see over here, divided by your total asset. The total debt is 11,100 plus your external financing needs. Yeah, divided by your 4640. That is how you get your debt, your debt ratio. So if you have any question, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'm going to be sending this to one of you. So if you have any question, let me know. Thank you.